Looks like the stars have aligned for 2 weeks in a row. Let's get this going. Phew, alright. That song there is Blaze at My Feet from the Ys vs. Sora no Kiseki Alternative Saga game, which was this cool 3D fighter that pitted characters from Ys, or the Ys series as well as the Trails in the Sky series against each other. This came out, I think, a month or so before Zero no Kiseki came out, or Trails of Zero, and it was kind of the build-up, because E7 had come out and it had taken the mechanics of that game and then used them for the battle and stuff, but then they also introduced one of the main characters from Zero no Kiseki, which is Lloyd Bannings, and he is awesome and great and fantastic, and I love that game so much. Oh my god! But he shows up in there and everything, and it is lots of fun, really great music from just Falcom in general. They have a lot of different music and stuff. So thank you to BK McGlynn for his comment from Rambling Weekly 12, mentioning how he liked the music and stuff. So more Falcom goodness coming your way this episode. So apologies in advance if this does sound a little different than what you usually get from me audio wise. I'm in a different location, so it might sound a little different. I apologize. So it's kind of nice because I'm in a little box by myself and it's all just nice and quiet but yeah. So what's been going on this week? I've been thankfully my laptop has been cooperating and I've been able to record footage for the episode of Games Which Fan My Passion 3, which was Lufia 2, and was able to get something out. It's kind of weird because I finally was able to do it and I sat down just kind of thinking about the game and everything. It's just one of those weird kind of blank pages in memory. So I've either completely just bashed my head enough to forget about that time. And it wasn't like it was a bad time either. I just kind of just can't think of it. But got that. I'm working on putting together footage for a game I really want to talk about. It's a Falcom game, and boy howdy, do it some do good. To put words. I'm replaying it, and I have not played it since I beat it 4 years ago. So it's really cool to kind of come back to it and rediscover music for it and stuff. I'll probably not play any sort of music for it during the different segments and stuff, but oh my goodness, that it's good. It's good to rediscover it. It's good to rediscover games that you loved and stuff when you played through it, and then you shelve it and don't play it again for a while and then come back to it and you're like, oh man, memory lane, walking down memory lane, yeah. But yeah, so that is that. Got that reading that, playing through that. That's really about what's been going on. E3 happened. It's kind of interesting because it seemed to be, which I'm actually kind of excited for in a certain way. Not to like hate on other things and stuff, but it seems to be that there were a lot more people who were, should I say, more even keeled about the whole thing, and they're like, well, yeah, be excited about it, but don't, until the game's in hand, what doesn't matter, and that sort of thing. I seen on Twitter, who was it, Jay from the Game Chasers or something, he had said something on Twitter about that. It's just like, what does it matter until I get the game? Which, yeah, it's nice to see the even killed people kind of come out of the intellectual closet. Joking aside, that's wrong. I don't. The only reason why that came to mind was a Bill Hicks routine, but that's totally not. I guess I should say the emotionless closet should be the proper way to put it, but no, but yes. So there's just it's been going, and there's not really much else to say that I can really think of. I'm trying desperately not to go crazy because just got so much other stuff. Of course, I decided, hey, I should start reading that Marcus Aurelius book, because I would really like to do like a video thing about Marcus Aurelius, like a multi-part sort of thing, because that dude's awesome. Dude, great. But that's a lot of work, so I need to kind of get to work. I think that's about it. So yeah, let's take a break, and then let's get into the topic. And I've got my list with me, and I'm kind of debating. So I'll listen to something, and then once we get back into it, I'll have a better idea what this topic's going to be. Alright, that song there was Childlike Eyes, and like the songs I'm going to be choosing, they're kind of from all different sorts of Falcom games and stuff like that, and some of them were original songs. So, yeah. If anything, there should be, I'll definitely try to link them like I did with last week's. I linked all of the different bumper musics and stiffs on the YouTube video if you guys are watching it / listening to this there. Yeah. So yeah, for the topic for today, and this I'd actually written before, but I think with the bit of a back and forth that I had with a certain Hectro with the 0 at the end, I think it's good to kind of bring this up now. Now, to be honest, I don't know if he does listen. If you do listen, hi Hectro. But we kind of had a bit of a back and forth because of a certain company was getting ran through by the Hulkster there, and it had to do with kind of was pointing out how crappy and crummy a lot of game journalist companies are, and this is something I always was kind of really not keen on as when I was younger in high school and stuff like that. Part of it was I was just too poor to really afford to get that sort of thing, to get like magazines for that sort of thing on a monthly subscription, and of course buying it in stores was pretty pricey. So yeah, so I was too poor for that sort of thing, and so usually the game stuff that I did get came from not from comic or magazine subscriptions or anything like that, but from just talking to friends. Really, that's about it. Did I have some like Nintendo powers and stuff? I did, and to be honest, I think I got a lot of them from because I think our school, like the elementary school, had a lot of copies of them that they just kind of were getting rid of, and they gave me some. So, yeah, that's and when I saw them, I didn't really care for the scores and stuff. I just like the screenshots of it. I was like, this is cool. This is nifty. Yeah. So, for example, and I've mentioned him before, but Razor Fist Rageaholic has a really keen insight on the ailing troubles thereof of the gaming journalism sort of thing. The dude even went to journalism school, I think, for a while, and then kind of stopped doing it because it got a little too nonsense for him. And he nails it pretty well for a lot of the different companies and stuff like that. But I will check those out. Actually, I'm going to write that down. Made the fists. Journal videos things. Journalistic vids. That should hopefully work. But he does that, but like so for myself, I never really got into it, and even when it made its decision, when they kind of shifted towards online stuff, there was, and I think I mentioned it a little bit before in the last episode about Xenosaga episode 2, replaying that trailer all the time. That was about it for me. I never really pushed beyond that because my computers were garbage. My computer, it's not that it's terrible now, but it's not the greatest. I've never had really good computers, so I don't really spend a lot of time on them. It's just, I guess it's just how I am. But or at least doing online stuff. Like I should have mentioned this in the previous segment, but I've been playing a lot of Chess Titans or some stupid silly nonsense like that, so I'm just playing a bunch of chess. Yeah. But what I'm getting at with this all is, and you can see in the parentheses for the YouTube video title, is that I'm going with political ploy, and this is something that really gets to me. And the reason why I brought up Hectro before is that we were kind of talking about all this sort of stuff, a little back and forth on Twitter about how there was somebody who wrote up a review for The Witcher 3's DLC Blood and Wine or Wine and Blood or whatever. They wrote up a thing, and this is where it becomes a problem. And the problem is that the people that are reviewing, or the people that are certain people that review or talk about these sort of things, they decide that they need to push political agenda into things that aren't about that at all. If they're not about that, when you're trying to push something, you can make anything try to fit your own narrative as long as you pick appropriately. Case in point, Fahrenheit 451, written by Ray Bradbury. Now, you might need to check Snopes, I think it's Snopes, or whatever kind of fact-checking website. I think this is real, so if this is apocryphal, please forgive me, but there was a time when he went to UCLA where he went to talk about the book Fahrenheit 451. Now, if I ask you, what is that book about? And if you haven't read it, I apologize, but it's a pretty good read. It's not like Ray Bradbury's books are pretty cool in the sense that some of them can be kind of, I don't want to say spooky, but I guess that's the best word I can use for it. Like for example, Something Wicked This Way Comes. Yeah, it's a pretty cool. I mean, yeah, it's plucked from Shakespeare, but by the pricking of my thumb, something wicked this way comes. I believe it's the witches from is it Act 2? Maybe it's Act 1, Scene 2. But anywho, it shouldn't be Scene 2 because the witches turn. Anywho, but he wrote the Fahrenheit 451, and well, that was kind of creepy. Whatever that sound was. And he wrote it. What did people? What's everybody told now? Everybody's told now that it's about censorship. That's what it's about. It's about censorship. And that's a common misconception of it. And he was argued with. The author, the person who wrote the fucking book, apologies for the vulgarity, but the dude who wrote the fucking book was being told by students that he was wrong about what he was saying the book was about. He was stating that the book was not about censorship, but it's also it's the byproduct of people who grow disinterested in the media form of books and reading, more so books and novels and that sort of thing, novellas and whatever. Reading the media form, when people became uncaring towards that outlet, then the government stepped in, and when they took the books away, nobody seemed to care. And I'm paraphrasing, I believe, a line from one of the firemen, who what they do is go around collecting books to burn. And that was the thing. Ray Bradbury was speaking out against TV, and even I think radio to an extent. He was speaking out against those two, even though radio I think might get a little bit more of a slide. But he was particularly speaking out about TV, and how that was to him a very, very evil sort of thing. Now, it's just that's what we get. And so when you, and this is what kind of, I think actually this was a part of the episode that I deleted because I didn't like, so this kind of ties in well with this. This is the same thing with poetry, and this is what kind of bothers me with English classes sometimes, is when the teachers are like, so what was the person thinking when they, or what do you think they were thinking about, and all this sort of thing. And it's, unless we have verifiable proof of what the author intended or the poet intended when they're writing that, you can only kind of guess and surmise loosely what somebody's thinking of. You're never going to be completely correct unless they come out and admit that, oh yeah, that's exactly what I was going for. Like I have a few poems. I'm not going to share them with you. If you want to look them up, there's plenty of ways to find out where they're at. And I've read them to people, and I've asked them, what are they about? And they kind of like, don't know. I get some people like, I don't know. And they kind of go into a deeper bit about it. And to me, it was just oh well, these are cool words. That was it. These words sound cool together, that's all I was writing those poems for. And I guess this is kind of tie back into the whole political thing, is that unless a game, show, whatever, purposely puts in a thing that they are going for politically, unless they're doing that, keep it the fuck out. Keep it out. Because you can't just use that. Unless you stop doing that, because there's no, unless you're like condoning hate, but then you're politicizing because you're pointing. But that's just, I don't know. That is me, and you cannot force politics into everything, because it doesn't. Because everything is not political. Some things are just some things because they're some fucking things. It's like, for example, story that I'm writing right now. Early on in the book, there is a scene that takes place in a brothel. Now, people who know me know that I'm not a very sexual person. I'm just really not. I don't find sexual humor funny all that much. Sometimes it might kind of with friends, but it's usually in the intimate forms of kind of talking with somebody and that sort of thing. Not necessarily over Skype, just because it's, I don't know, just kind of awkward to me, because you don't really see them / in the same room, so it kind of feels kind of weird. I don't know, but I'm not really a sexual person. It's just not really my kind of thing. But I wrote the scene that takes place in brothel. Now, somebody who does not know me, who sees that I wrote this scene, and it's describing what's going on, as well as some of the women who are working there, and kind of how they're feeling, how they're acting, and this sort of thing. I've been told that it does a good job of portraying women, because some women are not going to feel that comfortable doing it. They're not going to, and in the situations that they're in, they're really, it's something that they're kind of forced to do. And if you're forced to do something, either you grit your teeth and get through it, or you're just kind of, or some people, they just take the cloak and run with it. And it's just people are people, women are people, men are people are people. But the thing is that somebody who's trying to politicize something about that doesn't even have, they can read the kind of the quick wash of it, and not even read the details about the scene, and find out that that's in there, and somehow twist that in a way that I am trying to objectify women, which is not the fucking case at all. But it does happen. That it's not like I'm saying, yeah, it's totally, this is great, let's do, that's no. It is something that happens, and maybe it's a very sterile look that I'm kind of peering at times with that sort of thing, but it's something that happens. I mean, it is something that has happened throughout history, and that's kind of what I'm more so going with. Things that have happened in history, because we are people in the story, we are dealing with people, so things are going to, I'm not saying it's verbatim going to cut, oh, well, it's exactly the same as this, but people are people, and things are just going to happen. And and you see this from time to time, where they try to, and with what Hector sent me, this article, this review, somebody was trying to politicize it. They were saying, well, this is how they demonstrated what women were like, and it's like, it's really, it is what it is, but it's what is the proper word? I wish to kind of, I mean, you see things like what's the Duke Nukem. You see things like Duke Nukem. Are people really going around? And this is the problem I have. If you are letting if people are letting their children be taught that in games this is what happens and it is okay, then we've got a big problem on our hands. And it's not politicizing things, but it's a problem with parents actually parenting. And not even just parents, but also the community of which those parents are a part of. And mind you, it does become very difficult if in said community the parents don't want other adults trying to reprimand or anything like that, teach any sort of lessons. You get that sort of problem. But if you are letting things that are not real develop and create your moral compass, we've got problems. We have problems because even with everything you're taking out, like it's almost like the broken telephone game. You have a group, not even just one person to another, but you have a cacophony of silly people. I'm working on a game right now with 2 other people, and that's hard as it is. I mean, yeah, the scope of the game makes it a bit harder, but I mean, in the context of trying to make sure we're all on the same page, and even if we're not on the same page, coming to within agreeable limits of each other's thresholds for what's okay. That's just 3 of us. Not like thousands, and mind you, of course not thousands in a group, but not like tens, not like 100. And that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a cacophony of noises with that sort of thing spewing over into a game. Now games that make you question things are certainly something to kind of take in. It's questioning. It's there to plant the seed of ideas so that you can, follow the rabbit hole, not just, oh well, okay, it's great to do things in Grand Theft Auto. I mean, or it's great to stomp on Goombas and Noko-Nokos, the Koopas, step on those Koopas. Yeah, but I mean, it's it's weird that it gets to that point, and you see this not only in games and stuff, but you also see it in movies. You see it in books, but it's also books get kind of weird because they, for example, you have like the whole craziness that is the award, the Hugo Awards over the last few years that's been really politicized. There's the one that won the award I think maybe last year or 2 years ago. It was about a story that was about a Chinese American coming out to his traditionally Chinese family because if people in the world told a lie, they would be rained on. That was the concept. Like, hey, it's in that is so like ham-fisted, just trying to get political points, and when it's not even trying to ask a question, it's back to this, I already know all the answers, so I'm going to tell you what's the right answer, and there's no other questions because I already know it all. Why ask questions if I know everything? And this is what you get a lot of when it comes to politicizing things. When you have a lot of the let's write, and this is the problem I have with a lot of writers, is that they write from a place of condescension. They write from a place that they know everything. I don't fucking know a thing. I'm an idiot here talking into a little thing that people are listening to. Thank you. Hi, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. And I appreciate it. But it's like I'm not. Do I know things? I certainly know things. We all know things. It's some people just know things better than others. Some people know more than others. But I mean, and you can point, and I point to a lot of like people who have their own as my friend refers to it as OC, original characters or things like that, and they want to do what the hell is that? Like fan fiction and things like that, where it's just it's too difficult to actually create something, so we're just going to take somebody else's work and just turn it into our own. That's fine when you're imagining things and you're just kind of playing around. It becomes a whole another level when you're trying to pawn it off as a greater source of creativity because it's more personal. That's subjective, and it certainly could be possible that doing that sort of thing, but it's very, very tinted by the biases we have, and that sort of thing. But when it comes to the political ploy, when you're pushing all these sort of politics, you when you get people who are literally saying things like, I don't care what the original character was, I had something that I wanted to say. That's a problem. And I know I've said this, I know, like, that's, to me, a frightening proposition when it comes to creating something or anything of the sort, because that's not your... okay, you have something you want to tell. I have stories I want to tell, but in the same hand, I'm not going to sit there and try to push them as some sort of political sort of thing. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's just because there's not really a political thing. Like Sudraba, the story I'm working on right now, the main thing is that there's racist dickheads. That's like, and just the whole concept of it, to me, is I find really stupid. So when writing it, it's just like, this is really dumb. And of course, there's other parts where I have to put that in there, like have to make characters racist, and just like, I hate these characters so much, sort of thing. But but it's just like trying to purposely push, particularly when there's no political push within the story, is ridiculous. Because like with the Ray Bradbury thing, even if you think you have the idea of what's going on or what is the message that the author is intending / pushing, people are going to come away with something that kind of misses the mark, maybe by inches, by miles. But it's taken in a way that you get the whole murkiness of truth, is that, or for example with history, Napoleon said that there's history is a set of lies agreed upon. We all kind of agree on a certain set of lies to kind of to the certain present point, and that's the same thing that you got when you read something, is that when you read something from the author, within the author to the paper, it's already tainted. The original internal concept idea that's this pure form of creativity has been tainted because it has gone from the creator's heart and mind from there to the arm, to the hand, to the pen. And when it is bled out onto the paper, it's going to be tainted in certain ways. It's going to be slanted. It's going to be biased. It's going to be that way. So now you've taken this original creative idea and it's been slanted this sort of way, and then when it gets out there into the world and everybody else sees it, they all try to pick ways for it to benefit their own kind of ways, their own kind of ideas, their own way. That's what everybody wants, right? Everybody wants to have everything agree with what they think or what they feel or how they know everything. It's just how we all are. I mean, it's within that trying to fight that, I guess, beastly concept within us to kind of push beyond. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Like, just with the whole politics in games, I don't mind if there is, but it's not. There are, but it's not going to push me to be like, oh well, that game, that sort of thing. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on putting politics into things that don't necessarily have politics in them and that sort of thing? So let's take a break and get into the comments. Yeah. Phew. Alright, there. That song was Ernst, which is from E6, Arc of Nepishtim. And I'll be honest, that version it's good. But the original version has a really, sweet. I don't know. It's like a screech that it's not like a screech from a person. It's like a screech from like a guitar screech kind of thing. That's right at the beginning of the song. It's not in this version, unfortunately, but it's really cool. It's like that's terrible. It sounded like a dying cat. But it's a great song, and yeah. So today I just have one comment. It's a lengthy one, but it's from BK McGlynn, and I'm going to read through it. And now that I think about it, I don't think there was any other comments. I hope there weren't any other comments. If I'm missing a comment, please let me know. Alright, first one here is, well, not the first one, but he's got it broken down, and I appreciate it into sizable chunks. But BK McGlynn says, when it comes to hype, well, I actually like hyping games, but I always keep my expectations at bay, and I feel that that's the right way to handle hype. When a new game is announced and it seems to be my cup of tea or is part of a franchise for which I have great love, it can be a great joy for me. Or it can give me great joy. Completely paraphrase that, sorry. It makes me happy in a way because I have so much passion for this hobby. It's a very minuscule moment of happiness riding on that hype train. But, like I said earlier, more or less, I won't let it manipulate me. I certainly hope for the best that this certain game, when it's eventually released, will be fantastic. But if it's not, then I will rarely be disappointed. And that's certainly, I guess I should have, and I kind of did towards the end of that. I did leave a comment, but I did kind of make that caveat there towards the end, particularly with people who play a game that kind of hype it up. If somebody plays something and hypes it up, I can be a bit more forgiving. I can actually be a lot more forgiving than somebody who just hypes up something who, like, for example, the Legend of Zelda, the Breath of the Wind. Totally not right. Breath of the Wild. To me, that looks cool. It looks kind of nifty. I'm curious to try it out. But I'm not going to sit here and flip a lid about it. No. I mean, some people do. I'm not going to hate them for it or anything like that. That's fine if they get excited for it. But yeah, when you start getting really, really, really excited for it, I think it not all the time, but I think it can taint or at least change the perspective from which you're trying to. And I mean, yeah, it does it with everything, but I think trying to be more even-keeled allows things to ascend to a greater plane than if you hype something up, because I really, like, hype something up for yourself and then play it. Like, I can think of very few games that kind of matches the hype or the anticipation that I have for something, or that I've had for games. Mind you, it's not been very many because by the time I was able to get games, with a set of anticipation, I was already kind of set in my ways. But that is a very steep hill to climb, sort of thing. But I think that's good on you, BK McGlynn. I really think that is a great way to go about it. I'm just a killjoy, so I'm just like, nothing is fun. This is not fun. No fun for all. That's I think that's how I kind of come across sometimes. I can be a bit of a humorless, loveless person, but yeah, maybe that's why I laugh so much. God, that clock is creepy. Alright, so the next section here he wrote, that's also what's wrong with gaming culture. When the hype starts, people/fans start demanding things. That's a good point. Maybe not everybody, but that is a good thing to point out, is that when there is hype being made for things, then it starts to set up this foundation of levels of things that are going to happen, the possibilities, and all these other kind of things that, oh, this could happen, this could be the way. And then once they do play it, because people have such great imaginations, but I think a lot of people don't understand that the work it takes to take imagination and put it into creation, they kind of get a bit disappointed, bit disheartened, bit sad about the whole thing. So, but that is a very excellent point. Insisting that it'll have to have this feature. Okay, restart. Insisting that it'll have this or that feature, or they may start complaining or nitpicking on every little thing that doesn't comply with their own expectations. Thankfully, there are enough serious gamers that are more down to earth, but when strolling around the internet, you'll easily find those gamers I just mentioned, moaning about frame rates, 720p, 900p, 1080p, and all that sort of nonsense. Yeah, I'm with you on the that P thing there. Maybe I'm blind or something, but people who see that sort of thing. My mother even said it to me today about something about how, well, the 720p isn't as good as a TV. I almost wonder if that's not just a lie repeated enough that people just believe to just. You get this. You get people who want to always. Well, it's not this, so it's not as good as that, and it's like, can you see what's going on? Is it? That's the big thing. Can you see what's going on? Is it coming across to you what it is? Then it's doing its job. I mean, unless it's trying to aim for something, I don't know. You really kind of I'm barking up the wrong tree when it comes to the whole visual thing in that regard. You could line up 720 and I didn't even know there was a 900, but you could line all three of those up. I don't think I could tell a difference. I really don't, unless you get like some sort of screenshot, like in the moment sort of thing blasted into my face. I don't think I'm going to tell, and that's what I think is a bit of a. I think there's something with that, with the frame rates and stuff, that the eye only catches so many, and it's just, I really get to the point that it's like, because I kind of vaguely remember friends kind of talking about this when it came to the Xbox and the PS2 and that sort of thing, and I'm just kind of like, I'm not even in this conversation because I'm just like, I'm doing my own thing. So yeah. But and yeah, that's part of the problem, is that a lot of times the even though it's so boisterous, it's usually just a handful of people that are making these insane sort of comments. Unfortunately, because they're making these sort of crazy comments, it kind of gets lumped with everybody else and that sort of thing. So, and I mean, case in point, I did it last episode with the hype thing. So it's just yeah. Let's see here. And his next bit here is, don't get me wrong, I love it when a game looks great, and I can definitely be opinionated about it. But games nowadays rarely disappoint me on that point. Most games are HD and look pristine in my eyes, especially compared to the days of the good old Atari 2600. 2600? Who the hell says 2600? What the 2600 Atari? What? God, the good old Atari 2600. What, 2600? Who says that? I say that because I'm a dork. I can really enjoy well-done graphics / graphical upgrades. For example, what XE did with Trails in the Sky on the PC. When compared to the PSP versions, the PC versions look so much better. XE did an amazing job porting it with all different assets they've gotten from Falcom. And I think I asked this in the comments, but what all did XE do that Falcom didn't do? And I only asked this because for Trails in the Sky, the PC version was released first. And I want to say it was like 2004, 2005, and then 2006. Or 2007. You know, that sort of thing. So I am curious to know what they did particularly to upgrade it, because I do kind of remember them kind of saying, well, it's particularly with the PSP. I remember on the boxes and stuff, kind of the comparisons that Falcom would promote and everything. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it was more Kai, but yeah. So I am curious to know what differences that XE particularly did, or if it was just the translation stuff. I mean, it's great that they are getting, because totally, I am very happy that you're enjoying that, and a lot of people seem to be enjoying the Sen games or the Trails of Cold Steel. Don't fucking get it. Don't understand it. I'm not saying don't get it, like don't buy it. I like don't understand. I don't understand why that game is more enjoyable to people than the other ones. Different strokes for different folks. I think Trails of Cold Steel games so far have been kind of the worst ones so far. Like that's just me. But other people seem to like him a lot. So what do I know? Evidently nothing. But so his last part here is, so I'm definitely not an innocent when it comes to the more shallow aspects. None of us are. Don't worry about that, big Big Glenn. But I usually try to highlight the positive things that come to mind, like I just did with Trails. Time out. The phone rings. Well, sorry about that. My overlords have told me I am now free. So, it's as you said, BK Midland. It's good to be positive about that sort of thing, and I mean, it's not that I'm not. It's just, I guess when it comes to that sort of thing, I guess I bank a bit more on a sterner route. I don't know. Just kind of how I am. But then his last comment here was, by the way, love the musical selections this episode. Quite a few Falcom tracks I wasn't really familiar with yet. Well, get familiar with them, BK Glenn, because there's more of that coming. Yeah. But and I'm hoping you're liking the ones that I got right now. So. And I think the next one that's going to come up, I think, is probably my favorite. So we're going to listen to that and come back with the quote section, wrap this beast up, and call it a day. So, yeah, let's do that. Okay, there. That song was Overdosing Heavenly Bliss, and that's in Sora no Kiseki the Third, which I'm kind of surprised is actually getting released in North America. So, yes! More people can experience it, because I think out of the trilogy, like it and SC are kind of they're kind of tied with one another for which ones I like the best out of the trilogy. I mean, out of all the Falcom games so far, they're the games, like particularly the duology dealing with the crossbell principle, or the principality of crossbell, which is Zeta no Kiseki and Ao no Kiseki, are my favorite. So, yep, be that what it may. But as you probably had guessed, I'm back in the same location, and we're on the comment section. Not the comment. No, not comments. We're on the quote, and the quote is from my homeboy Marcus Aurelius. This is the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. I think I might have used it before. This is the Penguin Classics version, and this is from page 103, book 10. And it's a bit of a lengthy one, so please bear with me. So here we go. No one is so fortunate as not to have standing round his deathbed some people who welcome the fate coming on him. Was he the earnest sage? Then maybe there will be someone at his final moment saying to himself, "We can breathe again now, rid of the schoolmaster." He was not hard on any one of us, but I could feel his silent criticism of us all. So much for the earnest sage. But in our own case, how many other reasons are there for a general wish to be rid of us? You will think of this when you are dying, and your departure will be the easier if you reason to yourself, I am leaving the sort of life in which even my colleagues, on whose behalf I have expended so much effort, prayer, and thought, even when they want me out of the way, doubtless hoping for some relief from my death. So why should anyone cling to a longer stay here on earth? Do not, though, for that reason, feel any less warmth for them as you depart this life, but keep true to your own character, friendly, kind, generous. Again, your leaving of them should not be any wrench from life, but rather that easy slipping of the soul from the body's carapace. Yeah, I hope I said that right. Carapace experienced by those dying at peace. Nature bound you to them and made them your colleagues, but is now releasing you. My release is like parting from kinsmen. But I do not resist or need to be forced. This too is one of the ways to follow nature. And, I mean, I know that's a bit of a longer one, but that's just stoicism at its finest, just kind of being one with nature. And I think, and I'll continue to think this, that most people have kind of gotten away with that. I'm away from that. I mean, it's I don't know. Like I said, I highly recommend, and I think I've said it in a video before, and I've probably said it, maybe not on Rambling Weekly yet, but I highly recommend Meditations. I mean, he embodies, I believe it was Plato, he embodies Plato's envisionment of what a great empire could be under a philosophical king / emperor / ruler sort of thing. So Marcus Aurelius, my homeboy, doing his thing. So what we're going to play out to is a really, really cool song. It is called Twilight Wanderers, and I think it's a good one to kind of go out with. It's a good song. I think they use it for the kind of after you beat the story mode or something like that too. Maybe not, maybe, but I don't know. It's a really good song, and I hope you like it. Hope you enjoyed. Leave comments. Let me know what you think. Also, if you want to follow me on the Twitters, it's at Motogaru553. Be on the lookout. The next episode is going to be one that, if possible, I would like a bit more of an interactive sort of thing going there. and actually write it now so I don't back out of it. But I'll be putting up a little little tweet with poll, and people could DM me, direct message me and stuff. But the topic for next week is going to be asking the question, is history important? So yeah, I would like your feelings on that. So direct message me and tell me what you think, and it'll be a bit more kind of dissecting that, because I'm a big history person, so to me it's very important, but I don't think it's going to be to a lot of people. Maybe I'm wrong and that sort of thing, but yeah, so that's it. Thank you for listening. Have a good week. Take it easy. Yeah. This is Rambling Weekly. Yeah! Episode 13th. I don't even think I said the episode. So, episode 13th. So, take it easy, guys. Have a good one.